welcome to you. The member for Wide Bay.
Mr Speaker, my question is to the Deputy Prime Minister, Minister for Infrastructure, Transport and Regional Development. Will the Deputy Prime Minister update the House on how Australia's strong economy enables us to look after the elderly residents of rural and regional Australia? What are the risks to the infrastructure investment that is helping rural and regional senior Australians get the care that they deserve?
The Deputy Prime Minister has the call.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and I thank the member for Wide Bay for his question, Mr Speaker. Aged care is very, very important. We believe that quality aged care services should be available close to home, particularly for those people in country Australia, because when they have to make that decision, or their families make the decision for them to go to a residential aged care place, sometimes, all too often, Mr Speaker, they have to go many hundreds of kilometres from where they've lived most of their life, from their family and friends, and that is very difficult. It's difficult for them primarily, but it's also difficult for their family and friends. It's an already stressful time for them, and that's why all of us would want our mum, our dad, our grandparents, our family and our friends to be close to us during that time and in the future. And we want it for all Australian people. A strong economy means that we can invest in aged care centres through such programs as the Building Better Regions Fund. It's such a good fund for country Australia, and in that fund, in recent rounds, there's been the Gloucester Anglican Care Centre in Lyne, in the member for Lyne's electorate, a 50-bed facility with communal areas worth $8 million. In Kiama, in Gilmore, restoring the Blue Haven Aged Care Centre of Excellence, $1.4 million. The Frank Widden Masonic Homes in Temora, $3.6 million. Barcaldine Aged Care Centre in Maranoa, 5 additional aged care units, $1.8 million. Black Banarkin Aged Care Association, also in the Minister for Agriculture seat, new independent living dwellings, $204,000. Mightn't seem a lot of money in the scheme of things, but they're so important to those country people, so important to their families. The Mercy Health and Aged Care Centre in Central Queensland, in the member for Capricornia's electorate. In Rockhampton, new community centre for recreation activities, $1.2 million. Quamby Park, Waroona, in Canning in Western Australia, 9 disability modified accommodation units for aged people, $1.6 million. They all add up. They add up for the families. They add up for those people who are retiring to those particular centres. And the Minister for Senior Australians announced in June this year, in Wagga Wagga in fact, an aged care approval round for $13,500 for residential aged care places and 775 restorative care places, specifically in rural, regional and remote centres. That is very, very good. This follows the A-Care investment across the regions in this term. Gympie's Cooinda Aged Care Centre will receive a $5 million capital grant towards the construction of its new, nearly $12 million 50-bed building. But I'm asked about the risks. and unfortunately, Mr Speaker, I have to say that programs such as the Building Better Regions Fund will probably go. But I tell you what will also happen if Labor gets in government, and that is they will take a sledgehammer to the retirement savings of those hard-working Australians who deserve better, from their parliament.
Concluded. The member